It is a fresh start to the week, and we are here to bring you the news making headlines within and beyond the borders of Namibia. In the news today, Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board hosts stakeholder engagement in Hardap and Kharas regions. Top 12 Miss Namibia finalists announced. Swakopmund Mayor warns against destructive effects of corrupt tenders. World population expected to reach 8 billion in 2023. And of course, Namibia qualifies for the Rugby World Cup. I am Ashwin Berry, and this is NMH at 1, bringing you community stories, the latest news updates, sports and economic news, all within the lunch hour. In today's midday news update, Independent Patriots for Change Panduleni Itula says the party could not allow former Erongo Regional Council chairperson Siska Smith-Howard to continue to act in her role because of its principles. Itula made the comments during a community engagement in Groot Aub. Let's have a look.
Eindelijk die stoel gehoog gehad het en als gevolg van zekere omstandigheden het die partij besluit. Die persoon wat ons daar gehad het, wat vir ons verteenwoordig, is nie weer waardig om vir hierdie organisasie te verteenwoordig nie. En is as gevolg van ons eie beginsels. En ons beginsels glo ons in die beleid van die wet. En as iemand verby die wet trap, dan sal ons dit nie duld nie. En aangesien die persoon nie in die kiesafdeling gewoon het volgens die wet nie, is dit by 'n ander kiesafdeling gewoon, het ons besluit sy kan nie vir ons verteenwoordig nie. Ons sal nie daardie gedrag en bedrag duld nie, waar mense nie as gevolg van die wet lewe nie. Nee, op die oomblik.
Remember to engage us on our social media platforms and leave your thoughts in the comments as we share stories from local communities on the other side of this short break in our visual news segment.
Miss Namibia is a weekly tourism show that brings you the latest news in the tourism industry and topics related to that. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact tourismus@synergy.com.na for news and advertising related queries. Tourismus, bring the world to Namibia.
Getting into today's visual news clips, the Namibia Investment Promotion and Development Board recently visited the Hardap and Kharas regions. Now, the Kharas region governor, Alitha Fredericks, and Nangula Uwanja, CEO and chairman of the NIPDB, explained to traditional leaders and SME businesses what services they offer. Monique Adams was there.
As part of its mandate, the Namibia Investment and Promotion Development Board seeks to attract and retain its investment, while at the same time promoting Namibia.
By the governor on 16 March 2020, the president announced that he was going to create a new government after he was elected as the president of the country for the second term, which ran from the 21st of March 2015 up to 2020, and it is going now. So when he mentioned there, he said that there is some of the changes that he made. Of course, he made the ministries less, and then there's a few other changes he made. One of those changes that he made was he took what he called the investment promotion mandate, as well as the mandate for MSME development and coordination, and he said that he will elevate that role from the current ministry that was called MISMED and put that role in his office. And he did that for specifically two reasons. He believed that as Namibia, we have made a commitment in our NDP5 to have a private sector-led growth. And we will go through the documentation later to look at why it is important to have investments.
This weekend, 30 young women hoping to carry Namibia's name across their chest in the annual Miss Namibia pageant were cut down to 12. NMH journalist Jeanette Degard was at the announcement of the top 12 Miss Namibia finalists contesting for this year's crown.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are the 12 contestants, the lovely ladies that make it to the Miss Namibia Beauty Pageant 2022. A round of applause one more time. I think to be a part of the pageant already takes guts. And this here is a sign of courage. And so for every corporate that's here, for every sponsor, we hope that you can go and sponsor beyond just the event. We would like to see that your brain attaches themselves to these personalities, because these ladies are absolutely wonderful.
During the official opening of the newly constructed 750-meter Grootfontein-Rakatoka Street in Swakopmund Mayor neighborhood last week, the town's mayor, Louisa Kativa, warned against the destructive effects of corrupt tenders. The construction cost the town 12 million Namibian dollars. Adam Hartman has more.
Corrupt tenderers do not care about the future of the country, said Mayor of Swakopmund, Louisa Kativa. She made this remark at the official opening of the newly constructed $12 million Grootfontein-Rakatoka Street in Swakopmund Mayor neighborhood recently.
We are here this morning celebrating the opening of Grootfontein and Rakatoka Street. I thank you.
Kativa also warned contractors not to give jobs to friends and family for the sake of making quick money, but to leave it to those who have experience in the specific job, in this case the construction of the 750-meter street.
We would like to have success project in the whole Namibia's towns, rather than to have half project. A person get a tender and you walk halfway and disappear, nowhere to be found. And who's going to suffer at the late stage? My children and your grandchildren also.
When we return, we'll be taking a look at the news headlining the local dailies. Stay with us.
My.NA Property Show provides viewers with the best in-class content, engaging interviews, as well as a showcase of the latest property-related products and services. If you would like to feature your brand or your campaign on this platform, contact My.NA at synergy.com.na. My.NA Properties, more than just a roof over your head.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1. We now look at what the lead stories are in Namibia's daily newspapers. The National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia has opposed a recommendation by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Natural Resources that calls for government to hold a 51% shareholding in companies investing in the petroleum sector. The recommendation is contained in a committee report that was compiled in response to a petition to stop oil drilling in the Kavango East region related to exploration activities in which the Canadian company Reconnaissance Africa, Recon Africa, is currently engaged. Among the recommendations contained in the report are for greater participation by government in the oil and gas sector through NAMCO, reports Namibian Sun. Still on page 1 of Namibian Sun, a young woman who was convicted on Friday of killing her infant son begged to be kept behind bars despite still being free on bail until her sentencing and this is an unexpected twist. Hilda Shekupe Ita told acting Oshakati High Court Judge Doad Keslau that she preferred to be kept behind bars at the Oluno Correctional Facility instead of being allowed to leave the court until she is given a sentence by the court, stating that she did not have a place to stay and that she had informed her landlord that she was moving out because she was going to prison. Her request was denied and the matter postponed to 14 July for testimony in aggravation and mitigation of sentencing. Now, the Office of the Auditor General has found that a former Ministry of Health employee was able to pull its purse strings for 2 months after having resigned, reports Namibian Sun on its page 3. The findings are contained in an audit report into the ministry's finances and shows that the employee authorized 76 financial transactions in the ministry's integrated financial management system. The audit found that a staff member resigned on 13 August 2020. However, this staff member was still acting on the IFMS and processed 76 transactions to the value of 1.56 million Namibian dollars between 17 August and 21 September 2020. According to Republicane's front page, the Ministry of Mines and Energy is urgently looking for alternative import strategies following mid-last week's renewed increases in the prices of petrol and diesel. Now, Andreas Simon, spokesperson for the ministry, says it looks like there are no improvements in international oil markets. New fuel procurement strategies for Namibia could, according to him, help stabilize prices in the country. The process of universal health coverage and care in Namibia is on track, reports Republicans page 2. Let it be given the time and space it deserves for the process to be complete. Dr. Kalumbi Shangula, Minister of Health and Social Services, said the critical elements of UHC is the access to and affordability and quality of services. According to him, with reference to access to affordability and quality of health services that form the basis of UHC is Namibia already complies with the requirements. Now, on its front page, the Allgemeine Zeitung leads with a story about the disputes over the succession to the previous paramount chief of the Herero, Vekui Rukoro, who died in June 2021, which seems to have been resolved. His successor, Mushinde Kashua, should thus be inaugurated by the Ombara Oshitambi in Okahanja next Saturday. During a conversation, the paramount chief-to-be explained that the Ova Herero Traditional Authority has been in discussions with the widow, as well as the police and Okahanja authorities, and also the church on which the graves of respected previous Herero leaders are found. It now seems as though there will be a joint Herero Day attended by all factions and that police will not interfere with proceedings. On its page 3, the Allgemeine Zeitung reports that an already successful and fruitful partnership between Namibia and EU will enjoy another 7 years of partnership. Namibia's National Planning Commission and the EU have defined priorities of their cooperation for the coming 7 years. Projects for the purpose of furthering the Namibian youth, as well as Namibia's green economy and its governance capacities, will enjoy European support through a 37 million euros assistance package that will apply to the first 4 years. Having reached the halfway mark, this assistance will be assessed and used as a benchmark for the next half of the 7-year period. We continue with more news from the dailies after the break.
Sunset News is a daily news show focusing on national headlines as well as international news. If you'd like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, please contact sunset@synergy.com.na. Sunset News. Don't end your day without us.
Continuing with news from local newspapers, on the front page of the Namibian newspaper, we read that community forest and conservancy organizations from the Kavango regions are trying to get a court order to stop Canadian oil exploration company Recon Africa from further oil and gas exploration activities in Namibia. The case will be heard in the High Court on Friday. 6 men charged in the fish rot fishing quotas fraud and corruption case are due to a hearing by the end of next week if they will be permitted to appeal against a judgment in which their applications to be granted bail were dismissed at the start of April. The New Era reports that an astronomical increase in prices and how the man and woman on the street is affected. The prices of household oils and fats has increased by 15% in March 2022 compared to 9.4% during the same time last year. And this toll is beginning to take its toll on informal traders, reports the paper. Now, an informal trader at Soweto Market stated that it has become increasingly difficult to make a profit from selling her fat cakes with the rising cost of cooking oil oil and margarine, adding that she is in a tough spot and cannot risk losing clients by increasing her prices. The paper also reports that young girls at farm uitkoms, due to the escalating poverty levels, allegedly sell their bodies, sometimes for less than the cost of bread, to survive the hunger crisis ensnaring the community. Farm uitkoms families were resettled by the government in 2008 under the Marginalized Communities Program. New Era's page 3 reports that at least 100 murders were committed with firearms in Namibia, while a total of 410 attempted murder cases were also reported during the last 3 years. Moreover, a total of 11,086 robberies with firearms at 806 pointing of firearm cases were reported during this time. In another report, the New Era informs that Namibia Media Holdings and one of its former editors have succeeded in overturning a High Court ruling to pay damages to a Mariento farmer, Johan Lombard, for defamation after publishing an article in the Namibian Sun newspaper that Lombard kept elephants in deplorable conditions. Lombard and his company Golden Game CC were supposed to be paid 70,000 and 50,000 Namibian dollars. Now, the Market Watch highlights that formal housing delivery in Namibia is not keeping pace with demand, resulting in rapid growth of informal settlements. There is an estimated housing backlog of around 300,000 units, with an estimated backlog of 84,000 units just in Windhoek. To clear the backlog of 300,000 houses over the next 10 years, more than 30,000 housing units were required per year. This was revealed in the Namibia Country Private Sector Diagnostic launched by the World Bank on Friday. According to the report, Namibia is experiencing an annual urbanization of around 3.8%, translating to 50,000 people annually. The share of the urban population is expected to increase from 52% to 60% by 2030. Now, implementation of the proposed Financial Institutions and Markets Act of 2021, which requires compulsory 75% preservation of retirement benefits for people who withdraw from their retirement funds before the prescribed early retirement age of 55 years, has been postponed. More on this when we return.
In Business 7, you get news on current economic, financial, and business matters in Namibia. The weekly show features interviews with experts and in-depth analysis of burning issues in a way that caters for ordinary Namibians and business connoisseurs alike. We crunch the numbers that matter, decipher statistics that shape Namibian lives, discuss smart money, and explore the impact of global development locally. Money makes the world go round, so catch us on NTV, oneup2.com, and the Facebook platforms of the Namibian Sun, Republikane, Algemeine Zeitung, and Namibia Media Holdings. For news-related or advertising queries, please contact B7 at synergy.com.na.
Getting into today's economic news, working individuals who wish to change jobs, go on early retirement, or get fired can still cash out their retirement benefits following the postponement of the implementation of the proposed Financial Institutions and Markets Act No. 2 of 2021. The proposed law, which requires compulsory 75% preservation of retirement benefits for people who withdraw from their retirement funds before the prescribed early retirement age of 55 years, was supposed to take effect on 1 October 2022. In May 2022, the Finance Ministry announced the postponement of compulsory 75% preservation of retirement benefits, citing the need to allow adequate time for broader consultations. The date on which FIMA will come into operation will be communicated to the public at the appropriate time. Public and industry input on subordinate legislation to the FIMA have been received, and feedback on these comments will be communicated during the last quarter of 2022, the statement statement reads, the objects of FEMA are to foster financial soundness of financial institutions and financial intermediaries, ensure stability of financial institutions and market sector, and the highest standards of conduct of business by financial institutions and financial intermediaries. FEMA will further ensure fairness, efficiency, and orderliness of the financial institutions and market sector, the protection of consumers of financial services, promotion of public awareness and understanding of financial institutions and financial intermediaries, and reduction and deterrence of financial crime, Namfisa said. Zambia is cancelling more than $2 billion worth of projects financed by commercial loans to reduce the risk of accumulating more non-concessional debt, the Ministry of Finance said. At the end of 2021, Zambia's external debt stood at $17.27 billion, of which China held $5.78 billion, and it is in negotiations with creditors and the International Monetary Fund to lift itself out of this debt hole. Zambia was in the process of cancelling projects worth an estimated $2.1 billion. The medium-term budget plan published by the Ministry of Finance late on Saturday showed, although it gave no details, Zambia's economic growth in 2022 is expected to slow down to 3.1% from 3.6% recorded in 2021, mainly due to the expected reduced output from the agricultural sector. The economy of Africa's second largest copper producer is forecast to grow 4%, 4.1% and 4.4% in 2023, 2024 and 2025 respectively, the ministry's plan showed. The decision to axe the project is part of a broader debt restructuring process, it said, adding that it expected bilateral creditors who would provide adequate financing assurances for approval of an IMF program being discussed. Let's have a look at the economic indicators. The Namibian dollar has gone down in value when weighed against most of these major currencies, but retains its value against the Chinese yuan. Capricorn Investment Group has seen a drop in stock prices on the NSX, while most of these stock prices remain unchanged. Now, latest data shows that Namibia Breweries' local index dropped by 0.36%. Gold and zinc prices have dropped, while these other commodities saw an increase in price. 7 children were killed in a Togo bomb explosion. The full story coming up after the break. You are still watching NMH at 1. We now take a look at latest news in our neighboring countries, will later extend to the rest of the globe. 7 children are reported to have been killed by an improvised bomb explosion in Togo. Witnesses said they were woken by a loud blast late on Saturday in the Savannas region in the north of the country. An investigation is ongoing to determine the circumstances of this explosion and identify the perpetrators. The army is quoted as saying in a statement on Sunday, Islamist militants linked to Islamic State and Al-Qaeda have attacked numerous targets in a string of countries in the Sahel. The Togolese army has been on high alert following the country's first deadly militant attack in May, when 8 soldiers were killed near the border with Burkina Faso. Togo last month declared a state of emergency in its northern region following the attack. Togo's army said in a statement the explosion on Saturday in Mahaba village in Tone killed 7 and wounded 2 more. It did not give more details and did not describe it as an attack. Togo last month declared a state of emergency in its northern prefectures over the threat of Islamist militant attacks from north of its border. President Cyril Ramaphosa has expressed concern over what he described as an unacceptable and worrying killings of patrons at taverns in Gauteng in KwaZulu-Natal. In a statement issued on Sunday afternoon, Ramaphosa said government, citizens and structures of civil society must all work together even more closely to improve social and economic conditions in communities, as well as stamping out the illicit circulation of firearms. He also expressed his condolences to the families of the 15 people killed in a tavern in Soweto and for the murder of 4 people under similar circumstances in Pietermaritzburg. As a nation, we cannot allow violent criminals to terrorize us in this way, regardless of where such incidents may occur. Meanwhile, in KwaZulu-Natal, the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwananzi, said they have deployed a maximum resources following a similar incident on Saturday night at the Samkeliswe Tavern in Sweetwaters. A team comprising of members of crime intelligence, forensic experts, as well as a tactical unit has been put together to investigate the matter. 2 bar shootings, one in a township close to Johannesburg and another in eastern South Africa, left 19 dead, police said on Sunday. In Soweto, 15 people were killed as they enjoyed a night out. Police said when assailants drew up in a minibus taxi and began randomly firing at bar patrons. 49 Ivorian soldiers said to have been joining a contingent of the UN mission in Mali were arrested in Bamako on Sunday amid speculation of a coup attempt, Malian media report. Now, the arrested soldiers reportedly did not have the UN mission authorization and were all brought in 2 minibuses and then transported around 8 p.m. inside the airport. The airport is currently placed under tight surveillance by several soldiers of the security forces, the website added. Now, Malaik 2 website said in a Facebook post that the soldiers were not carrying weapons but had luggage in the care of MINUSMA. Malian special forces were deployed to secure the airport after the Ivorian soldiers failed to present their mission orders. Social media users alleged that the Ivorian soldiers were linked to an attempted coup against Mali's military-led government. The allegations are likely to worsen tensions between Mali's junta and MINUSMA, those whose mandate, was recently renewed for another year. The world's population is to hit 8 billion this year. And in other news, Sri Lanka's president will step down on Wednesday. These stories coming up on the other side of the break.
The Agenda is a weekly national affairs interview program hosted every Sunday by Namibian Sun editor Toyvon Jabela, featuring a panel of high-profile newsmakers, analysts, and experts. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact agenda@synergy.com.na. The Agenda, focused on today's conversation.
Heading into international news, the world's population is expected to reach 8 billion on November 15, the UN forecast Monday in a report that said India will surpass China as the most populous country on Earth in 2023. That overall population milestone is a reminder of our shared responsibility to care for our planet and a moment to reflect on where we still fall short of our commitments to one another, Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, without citing specifics. This is an occasion to celebrate our diversity, recognize our common humanity, and marvel at advancements in health that have extended lifespans and dramatically reduced maternal and child mortality rates, he added. The forecast by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs said the world's population is growing at its slowest pace since 1950. It should hit 8.5 billion in 2030 and 9.7 billion in 2050, peaking at around 10.4 billion people in the 2080s before steadying at that level until 2100. Certainly looking forward to living to that. Now, Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa announced his resignation on Saturday, hours after a crowd of angry protesters chased him from his residence as months of frustration brought on by unprecedented economic crisis boiled over. Hundreds of thousands of people massed in the capital Colombo to demand the government take responsibility for mismanaging the nation's finances and for crippling food and fuel shortages. Police used tear gas to disperse protesters demanding the resignation of Sri Lanka's President Gotabaya Rajapaksa in Colombo on July 9, 2022. Now, Sri Lanka's beleaguered President Rajapaksa fled his official residence in Colombo, a top defense source told AFP, and before protesters gathered to demand his resignation, stormed the compound. After storming the gates of the presidential palace, a throng of protesters walked through its rooms, with some among the boisterous crowd jumping into the compound's pool. Others were seen laughing and lounging in the stately bedrooms of the residence. At around the same time, the leader had boarded a naval craft at the Colombo port and was taken to the island's southern waters, where he let it be known he was finally bowing to months of calls for his resignations. After the break, we head straight into your local sports. We start off our sport with some rugby, as Namibia has beaten Kenya 36-0 in IN Province after leading 15-0 at halftime, and will take its place at a 7th consecutive Rugby World Cup in France next year. Namibia's World Cup fixture list is as follows. We'll first face Italy, and then on the 15th of September, New Zealand, and then France, and then Uruguay. Now, the Night of Champions boxing tournament showcased some rising stars in Namibia's boxing fraternity. The main bout of the Night of Champions boxing tournament in Swakopmund on Saturday night lasted for about a minute. Rising star Peter Kutzer of Windhoek's Chiapini Boxing Club recorded a technical knockout over Sheshe James from Swakopmund. The tournament, hosted by Dani Team Boxing Academy, presents an opportunity for future boxing champions to showcase their fights, as well as to enjoy some more experience in the ring. The Namibia Rugby Union Premier League continued with emphatic encounters as Kudus trounced UNAM, while Western Suburbs were also successful in Windhoek. FNB Western Suburbs won on Saturday afternoon, dotted down 8 tries versus Trasco United in their Premier League encounter at United in Olympia to win their 5th clash of the 2022 season by 53 points to 9. United's points came by the boot of fly-half Renier Bernarde with 2 penalty goals and a magnificent drop kick in the first half to trail at halftime by 36-9. Now, while the annual Namibia Defence Force Sport Games are considered an opportunity for about 1,600 military personnel to enjoy team building and networking in the outdoors, the competition between the players at the 7th edition of this event was still fierce. This year, the event was hosted in Swakopmund by the Navy. Personnel from military divisions converged from across the country to take part in various sport codes such as athletics, triathlon, chess, pool, boxing, volleyball, netball, and soccer. The 21st Brigade from Windhoek won gold in 3 of the codes, namely chess, pool, and volleyball. All right, stay with us as we get into your international sport. Africa Cup of Nations finals. Well, good news for Zambia as they made it to the top following a thumping 4-1 victory over Togo at the Stade Moulay Hassan in Rabat on Saturday. The win set up a quarter-final with Senegal on Wednesday that will not only be a shootout for a place in the semi-finals of the continental competition, but also qualification for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Zambia have secured a top spot in Group B. The 4 semi-finalists finalists at this year's African Championship qualify automatically for the global showpiece. Stay with us as we bring your highlights after this break. Africa Good Morning is a current affairs program that brings you the latest from Southern Africa and beyond. News, economics, sport, weather, interviews, and so much more. For any advertising or news-related queries, contact AGM at synergy.com.na. Africa Good Morning, bringing Africa to you.
I usually spend about 600 Namibian dollars for a full tank, which usually lasts me the entire month because I do not drive around that much. The longest stretch I've ever gone with my car is to Kamanyap, and that was for leisure purposes. The service at the Namco service station is excellent because when you get there, you're met by employees who are always ready to cater to you. Whether it's them fueling your car, checking your tire pressure, offering to wash your windscreen, or checking your engine oil. The one thing that makes me proudly Namibian is being able to experience Namibia in all its beauty through travel.
Thank you for staying with NMH at 1 from the top of the hour. Let's have a look at the highlights from this afternoon's broadcast. The world's population is expected to reach 8 billion, and India will surpass China as the most populous country on earth in 2023. 7 children are reported to have been killed by an improvised bomb explosion in Togo. Witnesses said they were woken by a loud blast late on Saturday in the Savannas region in the north of the country. In rugby, Namibia has beaten Kenya 36-0 in NMH province after leading 15-0 at halftime and will take its place at a 7th consecutive Rugby World Cup in France next year. Those have been your highlights. Thank you for staying with NMH at 1 and spending your lunch hour with me, Ashwin Berry. Remember to tune in every weekday at 1 p.m. as we take you through the latest happenings in Namibia and beyond. Stay with us for a compilation of news from across Namibia in our regional review segment.
Good morning, viewers. This is another episode of Regional Review. I'll be your host, Tuyemo Haidula, and I'm coming to you from Oshana region. Today is International Population Day. This is an annual event observed every year which seeks to raise awareness of global population issues. The event was established by the Governing Council of the United Nations Development Programme in 1989. In today's episode, our first story will be on the Oshakati sewage overflows. The residents of Oshakati are unhappy with the stench which is coming from the sewage from its oxidation ponds, which has been overflowing into the nearby Oshana downstream and homesteads. Evidently, the sewer started overflowing for some time now as tractors drop off heaps of sand to try and block it from overflowing, but this does not seem to help much. Inhabitants told Namibian Sun on Saturday that the construction of more ponds and the proper rehabilitation of the existing infrastructure needs to be done so that the problem can be solved. The town council spokesperson Katarina Kamari said she was not aware of the situation and that she would get in touch with their technical team to have it rectified. Please take a look at some of the footage that we've captured. Children's footprints can also be seen near the water, an indication that the little ones are playing in it during the day. The sewer smells so badly and it's a health hazard. The dam is also used for people in remote areas, and when the water mixes with the water from the ponds, those who are living in the rural areas and the nearby villages are left with no safe water to drink. Nurses everywhere are working at clinics, hospital wards and units, and in some situations literally working until they drop. And in some regions they are working and doing so while dealing with the lack of essential items. But these retired nurses will not relent on what they call their calling. The group, which is now called the 62s by the young nurses at Oshikuku Hospital in Umsati region, believe nursing is a healing profession. Please take a look at Angelina Popseninawa, Ashilelo Mvula, talking about how they believe nursing is a healing profession and why they decided to have a reunion for both retired nurses and current nurses so that they can inspire each other to deliver better on healthcare in Namibia. Oshana Governor Elia Irimari has called on the inhabitants of Oshana region to protect nature at all costs. Irimari said it's high time we consider protecting the northern central forestry at all costs, as cutting down trees has now become extended too much. Irimari made the remarks during the project of conception and visioning workshop of the development of Commission Vision and Strategy for Human-Wildlife Coexistence in the Northern Central Landscape, which was held at Ondangwa last week. He suggested for the forestry team to write to his office a letter requesting for assistance, stating an operation on dealing with those cutting down trees. Please listen to an insert on how the governor is explaining how this should be done.
The lesson learned from the consultation so far, made and more yet to come, will serve as a good learning ground for scale-up innovative intervention that should spread across the length and breadth of the North Central landscape, including covering areas outside conservancies of human-wildlife conflict situation, no boundaries, or aim at enhancing the coexistence. I'm particularly impressed that the above-mentioned project aims to support a paradigm shift in Namibia from wildlife conflict management to wildlife safety management, as to create a situation that's safe for people and their assets, wildlife and habitats. The intention is that wildlife conservation and safety management should go hand in hand, very importantly. And I do not know, when you talk about management, how many of you here are educated or have specifically studied in that field of studies? Can you just raise up your hand? Just raise up your hand. One. Just stand up, in fact. Just stand up. Okay. You can be turned as I've counted now. Sit down, thank you.
My name is Angelina Popianinawa Mvula. I'm working in Oshikuku, San Martin Hospital as a registered nurse. I just want to say something about our reunion of Oshikuku 62 group. My aim is I just have that feeling of put the bond for the nurses who working in Oshikuku for that previous time. Because as I know, when we came in Oshikuku, we were having a good bond compared to what is currently. We were having a good bond. And we were just having, we were just like brothers and sisters. And I was longing for it to come together and to laugh together and I was missing that bond for that previous week. I mean, for that previous years. As like me, I joined the Oshikuku in 1987, and until now I'm working in Oshikuku. And when I started in Oshikuku, I was just an assistant nurse. Then I went for upgrading in 2005 and 6 to be a enrolled nurse. Then I resigned from work. Then I went for further study at UNAM, and I graduated as a registered nurse with my Bachelor of Nursing Science honors in 2013. In 2014, I was again employed in Oshikuku as a registered nurse. And for now, we just come up with that idea. And it started on the 8th of May, whereby one of my colleagues, those senior nurses going for retirement, then I was having that, I was thinking, now you are going, Agatha Ipinge is the one who I was talking with her, because she's going on a retirement this year.
AgriMonitor is jou weeklikse landboukundige program wat jou die jongste nuus in die landbouverwante bedryf en onderwerpe wat daaraan gekoppel is bring. Vir enige advertensie of nuusverwante navrae, kontak agrimonitor@synergy.com.na.
Umuthia and Oshakati are sunny and very warm this week, with daytime temps hovering at around the 30-degree mark. Undangwa is sunny and hot, with daytime temperatures at 33 degrees this week, and the same goes for Inanna. Finally, Utapi is sunny and cooler during the day and night, with highs of 27 and a low of 7.
Thank you so much for joining us. From me to Emo Haidula and the rest of the NMH crew, it's goodbye.
NMH Ad Spotter spots the daily NMH printed editions for the daily newspapers to the retail specials, as well as weekly, monthly, and yearly focus editions. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, please contact adspotter@synergy.com.na. NMH Ad Spotter. Spot it, like it, buy it.
AgriMonitor is jou weeklikse landboukundige program wat jou die jongste nuus in die landbouverwante bedryf en onderwerpe wat daaraan gekoppel is bring. Vir enige advertensie of nuusverwante navrae, kontak agrimonitor@synergy.com.na.
Miss Namibia is a weekly tourism show that brings you the latest news in the tourism industry and topics related to that. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact tourismus@synergy.com.na for news and advertising related queries. Tourismus, bring the world to Namibia.
I usually spend about $600 Namibian for a full tank, which usually lasts me the entire month because I do not drive around that much. The longest stretch I've ever gone with my car is to Kamanyap, and that was for leisure purposes. The service at the Namco service station is excellent because when you get there, you're met by employees who are always ready to cater to you. Whether it's them fueling your car, checking your tire pressure, offering to wash your windscreen, or checking your engine oil. The one thing that makes me proudly Namibian is being able to experience Namibia in all its beauty through travel.
Chill Sessions is an entertainment show that brings you the latest hit, fashion, and entertainment news. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact chill@synergy.com.na. Chill Sessions, bringing art and entertainment to the people.